Ever heard of a killer who could vanish into thin air, living right under everyone's nose for years? Today, we're diving into the chilling story of the Giza Butcher, a man who used his cunning and charm to lead a double life, leaving a trail of mystery and heartbreak in his wake. This isn't just a true crime story. It's a deep dive into the mind of a master manipulator. Our story begins with Qaddafi Farag, a man who seemed completely ordinary. Born in 1971, he grew up in a working-class neighborhood in Giza, Egypt. He wasn't a standout student, but he was known for being quiet and somewhat reserved. He eventually attended law school but dropped out, choosing instead to work in his family's library and stationery shop. To his neighbors and customers, he was just a regular guy, maybe a little introverted, but certainly not someone you'd ever suspect of anything sinister. This perception of normalcy was his greatest weapon. He was described as articulate and well-spoken, which allowed him to build trust with people as he seemed knowledgeable and even sophisticated. This charm was a carefully crafted mask, hiding a dark and calculated mind that was already planning its first move. The first known victim was an engineer named Rida, who was also Qaddafi's close friend. The two had a business partnership involving rental properties in Giza. In 2015, a financial dispute erupted between them. Rida discovered that Qaddafi had been selling properties behind his back and pocketing the money. When confronted, Qaddafi knew his scam was about to be exposed. Instead of facing the consequences, he chose a horrifying alternative. He lured Rida to one of their apartments under the pretense of resolving their issues. Once there, he killed his friend. To cover his tracks, he dismembered the body and buried the parts in two separate rooms of the apartment, sealing them under freshly tiled floors. He then calmly walked away, ready to assume a new identity. This is where the story takes a truly bizarre turn. Qaddafi didn't flee the country or go into hiding in some remote location. He simply stole his victim's identity. He took Rida's name, his identification, and even his professional title. As engineer Rida, he moved to the coastal city of Alexandria, a bustling metropolis where no one knew his face. Life in Alexandria for the new Rida was surprisingly normal. He opened a small appliance store and quickly became a respected member of his new community. He was known as a friendly, successful businessman. People liked him. He was a regular guy who sold them washing machines and refrigerators. He even got married, starting a new family under a stolen name, all while his first family in Giza believed he had simply traveled abroad for work and lost contact. For a while, it seemed like he had committed the perfect crime. He had a new life, a new wife, and a new reputation. But the darkness within him couldn't stay dormant forever. He soon began targeting women. One of his victims was a woman who worked for him. The exact details of what happened are murky, but it's believed he manipulated her with promises, and when she threatened to expose him, she vanished. Just like with his first victim, he disposed of her body in a hidden grave, this time within the walls of his appliance shop. Another woman, Nadine, was also drawn into his web. She was one of his wife's friends. Qaddafi, using his charismatic personality, began a secret affair with her. He promised her marriage and a future together, all while being married to her friend. But their relationship was stormy, and after a heated argument, Nadine disappeared without a trace. Her family searched for her frantically, but no one suspected a friendly neighborhood businessman. Qaddafi buried her body in the same secret location as his other Alexandria victim. For years, the families of the missing desperately searched for answers. The police had multiple missing person cases on their hands, but there were no obvious links between them. The victims were from different circles, and the disappearances happened over a span of years. Qaddafi was a ghost, a chameleon who blended seamlessly into his surroundings. The downfall of the Giza Butcher came not from a brilliant piece of detective work, but from a simple mistake born of his own greed. While living as Rida in Alexandria, he decided to sell one of the properties he still owned back in Giza under his original name, Qaddafi. He hired a lawyer to handle the sale. This seemingly minor transaction was the beginning of the end. In 2020, Rida's family, who had never given up hope of finding him, saw a picture of engineer Rida online by chance. They were stunned. The man in the photo was using their missing relative's name, but it was clearly not him. It was Qaddafi, their son's old business partner. They immediately alerted the authorities. The police were now armed with a crucial piece of the puzzle. They had a face and two names. The investigation quickly zeroed in on Qaddafi. When they finally arrested him in Alexandria, he was still living his life as Rida. the man who had eluded justice for 5 years, was caught because he got too comfortable in his stolen identity. At first, he denied everything. He was a master of deception, and he tried to talk his way out of it, just as he had done so many times before. But the evidence began to mount. Under intense interrogation, the mask finally cracked. Qaddafi began to confess, and the true horror of his crimes came to light. He led the police to the burial sites. In the apartment in Giza, investigators had to break through the concrete and tile floors. There, they found the remains of his first victim, Rada. The discovery sent shockwaves through the community. The quiet man from the library was a cold-blooded killer. Then, he led them to the shop in Alexandria. By Inawa, in a hidden chamber, they found the remains of the 2 women he had murdered there. The community that had known him as a kind and helpful businessman was left in disbelief. The man they had welcomed into their lives was a monster. The trial of Qaddafi Farag Abdelati captivated Egypt. The media dubbed him the Giza Butcher because of the gruesome nature of his crimes. The prosecution painted a picture of a remorseless psychopath, a man who used his intelligence and charm to manipulate and kill for personal gain. He killed his friend to cover up financial fraud. He killed women who threatened to expose his double life. His motives were selfish, and his actions were pure evil. Throughout the trial, Qaddafi remained eerily calm. He seemed detached, as if he were watching a movie about someone else. In 2021, he was found guilty and sentenced to death for the 4 murders. The case of the Giza Butcher is a terrifying reminder that evil can wear a very ordinary face. It's not always the strange recluse or the obvious outcast. Sometimes, it's the person you'd least expect a friendly neighbor, the charming businessman, the trusted friend. Qaddafi's ability to compartmentalize his life, to be a loving husband in one city while being a wanted killer in another, is what makes his story so profoundly disturbing. It also highlights the importance of trusting your instincts and the tireless efforts of families who refuse to give up on their loved ones. If Rada's family hadn't been so vigilant, Qaddafi might still be living as engineer Rada today, and the fate of his victims might have remained a mystery forever. This story serves as a stark warning about the darkness that can hide behind a charismatic smile. Thank you for watching. If you found this story compelling, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into fascinating cases. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.